Shalom Aleichem. That means peace be unto you. My brothers and sisters, I I want to talk about time and celebrations tonight. It's been something that's really been weighing on me. So I've been kind of trying to dig a little deeper into the word so that I can get some better understanding and dig a little bit deeper into knowledge and wisdom. And now let's talk about time, okay? We just had... Okay, no, I don't want to put it that way. Sorry. Let's say time. Okay, we've got it down to a mathematical thing. Do you see what I'm saying? They've got it down on a stopwatch, digital. Brr, 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 it's all time. Okay. It's down to a mathematical thing. Okay. So we take the physics, mathematics of time, okay, and we map the stars. That's how the ancients used to map time, was by the stars. The Mayans, whatever, everything is mapped by the stars. Even Yahshua's birth was a conjunction of stars. That's how Daniel knew where to be. He did it all mathematically. I mean, Daniel was a mathematical genius. The amount of math that Yahweh gave him was amazing. Mathematics and astrology. We map the stars. They're never wrong. We have to understand that they are never wrong. They're there. It's a constant flow. That's how they do that's the precession of equinoxes. All of these things, and these things, they're all okay. Let me put it this way: our adversary, the evil one, cannot create anything. Only Yahweh can do that. So what does he do? He mimics a bunch of different stuff. He throws in this and throws in that. Where's the best place to hide lies? The best place to hide lies is amidst a fat butt load of truth. He just mimics it in a way. That's all it is. All these different religions out there and philosophies out there, it's just mimics. There's only one truth. We know that, but you take mathematics and astrology, and we have been able to exactly pinpoint. There's a bunch of scholars out there that have been able to actually pinpoint, using the stars and reverse mathematics within the calendar and the days and the where the sun would be, the whole 9 yards. We can reverse calculate exactly the moment of Yeshua's birth. When he tabernacled among us. It was during the Feast of Sukkot, on the 15th day of the 7th month, in the year 3998 FC, from creation. It was a high Sabbath. It was the Feast of Sukkot. He was born in a sukkah. It was a Thursday. Using mathematics and astrology and reverse calculating, we use science. See, I think it's really funny how they say that science disproves God when science consistently and constantly proves it. I don't fathom the logic, but it's okay. But we reverse calculated. He was born on a Thursday. It was September 26th in the year BCE, before Common Era, or error. And he died on Passover, okay? He died on Passover, the 14th day of the first month, the month of Aviv Barley. It was a Wednesday, April 28th, 28 CE, Common Era. He resurrected just before sunset now, okay? All the feasts of Yahweh, Yahovah, Yahshua, there's so many people out there with this pronunciation stuff, you know what I mean? That's something else I'd like to get into as well. But he was born just before sunset on a Saturday. It was a Shabbat, okay? That's 3 days, 3 nights. It was the Feast of First Fruits. That's the whole point. The Feast of First Fruits is that is him coming back to life and finishing the last 50 days of his ministry. He actually resurrected on day 441. That's why we're supposed to, in Leviticus, count the 50 days to Shavuot. That is when he ascended into heaven at the end of his ministry. His 490-day ministry as prophesied by Daniel. It was actually May 1st in the year 28 CE, Common Era. It was the 7th day of the first month in the year 428 FC from creation. We must use our minds, brothers and sisters. We are called to an understanding, but I'm telling you, it's only the critical thinkers that are going to make it through this thing if you don't wisen up. We talk about time, we're talking about celebrations. There's a reason for the feasts. They mean so much more than people give them credit for. They are what did he call them? A shadow of good things to come, see? Let's talk about what should we talk about first? Okay. The other thing I want to talk to you about is celebrations, but I want to kind of show you the difference and what Satan did to mimic the true feast of Yahweh. See, when all of his death and resurrection is going on, I think that sometimes we need to pay attention to what we're saying as well as to show logic here, because and how we're saying it, as to say, hey, what are you doing for Easter? Or, hey, what did you have for dinner for Easter? Easter, we know without a doubt for a fact, is Ishtar, Ashtaroth, Ashtoreth. We know that she is the goddess of sex and fertility, hence the eggs and the rolled, and we're going to get to that in a second. But when you say for Easter, what did you do for Easter? Why, if we're celebrating Christ's resurrection, why don't we ever say, what are you having for Christ? What are you having for Christ's resurrection? Because it says over and over again in these two in my thing. I got this one, two, I think one more in the closet, and many, many more on my phone. I try to read as many versions as I can, because all versions are essentially truth. It's just that they don't necessarily tell the story how it's supposed to be told. Remember, Satan mimics. So if we can read all of them and discern the information out of all of them, which is, and there's a few websites out there that you can actually read Bibles side by side. These will show you how different things can become, the mimics, the 40,000 mimics out there that we have. People call them denominations. I call it mimics of the actual truth. These big churches, Yahweh says, the heaven is my kingdom and the earth is my footstool. What building could you build for me? We are not supposed to be in a building. Because we are not listeners of the word, we are doers of it, James says. So, and with my ministry, it's called Bold Love Ministry. If you in after these videos, I'm tagged in every single time it's posted. That way we can actually discuss these things and we can talk with these things. I don't have a public figure page. I just have a friends page, man. You know what I mean? I want to talk and converse and see what my congregation sees. I want to know what my congregation knows. We are all students together learning this messed up reality that the adversary has concocted for us. But we are wise as serpents, and it makes us harmless as doves. The sorrow that we feel for everything we once thought of as our lives. We don't know anything but for Easter. Why do we do anything for that pagan sex goddess? And she's a goddess of sexual immorality. She, it says over and over again, flee from sexual immorality. Don't eat food sacrificed to idols. Okay, now I know that we don't sacrifice the food to idols. We don't, but we don't kill it. We don't kill it. We just buy it all packaged up with freaking hormones and worms. Half of us eating an Easter ham, which I did for years until I understood the truth of things. I know I did it all too. I get it. But I lament your hurt from having to separate yourself from that tradition that you inherited from your parents. But not all traditions that we inherit from our parents are the right ones. That's all it is. That the pagan idolaters used to fornicate upon her altar, and then the babies that were born out of her fornication, on the altar, were then taken back to the altar and sacrificed, and eggs were rolled in these babies' bloods all over. Can you imagine that? A poor child, a poor baby, and its own mother slitting its throat. Then they'd roll the eggs in its blood, its life, and hang it up on the altar. And hide them around so it would spread more sex. It would spread more fertility. Why don't we do it for Christ's resurrection? Which is, that we know when it happened. Nothing is out of place in this universe. He builds on complexity on top of complexity on top of complexity on top of complexity. There is nothing out of place in this world. He uses complexity to build more complexity. He is mesmerizing builder. He's a mesmerizing builder when you really dig into the knowledge that's at our fingertips. The fact that a brain cell looks just like, a cluster in the universe. It just, the whole 9 yards, man. Supernovas look like eyeballs. There's nothing out of place. He's a gorgeous and magnificent. I call him overwhelming. That is my tribute to mankind. I want to add the word overwhelming into the Webster's dictionary because that's what Yahweh really is. He is the most mesmerizing builder I have ever seen. I can't fathom what our new heaven and new earth is even going to look like, man, because this guy, our Father, is so magnificent. He actually makes everything coincide mathematically to the end, the whole 9 yards. He invented it. He's a poet. That's what you have to understand about these books. It's These people were poets, and they were the pens of Yahweh. Okay, and Yahweh is a poet. He invented it. He's a poet teaching us how to think on a parable level and add things in and manifest itself into the chief cornerstone, love. So when he says, I can settle the Torah in 2 commandments, to love thy father with all your heart, all your mind, and all your body, and all your soul. Part of your body is your mouth. And why are you saying that you're going to do anything for a pagan goddess named Easter? We are doing it for his resurrection. We are doing it for his glorification. How does even mentioning in her name glorify Christ? Not my king. It all comes down to it, just like I said in he resurrected on day 441, okay, of his 490-day ministry. That there, in Leviticus it tells us to count 50 more days to Shavuot, okay? Now that's math. And he does it all with his feasts, you see. Every feast represents something that has to do with Christ. When he tabernacled among us, it's the Feast of Tabernacles. It's when he tabernacled among us. Why do we not glorify this? Why are we glorifying a pagan goddess? He tabernacled among us. That's the fall feasts. That's what it's all about. His life with us. Passover is his death with us. The Feast of First Fruits is his resurrection to prove every word he spoke. Shavuot is his ascension into heaven at the end of his 490-day ministry here. So, why do we not glorify this? Now let's think about this logically. Why are we saying her name? It's a her. It's not just an Easter egg hunt. You're hunting for sex. You're teaching your kids to hunt for sex, kind of. I mean, we must think about these things. And in the Bible, it tells us to not eat food sacrificed to animals. I know that we don't sacrifice it, but what do you eat it for? What did you have for Easter? Logically, you have to get some sort of an understanding there. And I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to rob anyone's spirituality. I'm trying to build it. I'm trying to show you that there's more to meets the eye with the feasts of Yahweh. That everybody thinks it's the feast of the Jews. It's the feast of Yahshua, our Savior, our Messiah. Don't you get that? They're not the feast of the Jews. Yahshua did away with Yahshua HaMashiach, our King and mighty man. He did away with any difference, opening the door. It was a renewed, opened covenant to make sure that everyone could be available to be a priest and king in the heritage and in the inheritance on the new earth. It's the parable thinkers, it's the critical thinkers that are going to make it through this. And we've got to here's the deal. This is the way that I look at it. Let me put this over here real quick because I may get animated. This is the way that I look at it, okay? I say, one, I kind of want to put to rest the whole Yeshua and Yahushua. There's a bunch of different ways of saying it, but his name is not Jesus. His name is Yahushua. There's no J sound in the Hebrew language. Now, and I want to bring that to you in maybe this fashion, maybe in this kind of perspective here. If we know that the Antichrist is looking to put together a one world government and a one world religion and establish a one world language, and we know that language to be English, why are we going to say our Savior's name in the Antichrist tongue? Let's say it in the name, in the language, let's say his name in the language in which Yahweh gave him to us. I think that's the only way to glorify him completely. And you know, we must love him with all our hearts and all our bodies and all our minds and all our souls. You know, it's really not that difficult to understand. And I'm sorry that it may offend some people. I don't want to offend you. I just want you to know what I know to be academically true. Period. Let's stop looking at this thing, you know, these books. These books, you know, everybody thinks there's only one version that's the truth. Well, you know, essentially they're all truths, so read them all. Period. You know? Let's do something more every day. You know, let's say, what did you do for Christ? You know, what did you do for him? You know, not for and okay, we are talking about celebrations, and I want to bring up Christmas. I know everybody's going to get upset. I'm not really trying to upset anyone, but Christmas, we mathematically proved that his birthday is actually September 26th. Okay? September 26th. The Feast of Sukkot. Okay? The Feast of Tabernacles. When he tabernacled among us. It was in September, not December. I'm going to tell you why December 25th is so important. It's ancient sun worship is really what it boils down to. It's another one of Satan's mimics. The death of the sun for 3 days. what really happens? Okay, the 21st is the solstice. It's the winter solstice. And then the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th are the 3 days and nights. Okay, well, during these times in the winter, the sun would lower down in the sky to a certain point, and then on December 21st and December 22nd, it would stop lowering itself into the sky. It would just hang there for the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th. But on the evening of the 24th, it does something really peculiar. The next morning, it rises 1 degree back into the sky, signifying spring and thus salvation. Thus, great, the sun, the sun, the sun. You know, well, that's what it's from. It has nothing to do with his birth. He was born in September in the Feast of Tabernacles when he tabernacled among us. The feasts are not for the Jews. The feasts are for everyone now. They're to glorify our Savior, the Son of Man, the Redeemer of worlds. So what do we do when we know we have salvation? Because if you think you can lose your salvation, you never had it. I'm tired of hearing it. To be quite honest, I'm just tired of hearing it. Let's put that to rest. Salvation is no fear. You know, us critical thinkers dig. We dig deep. You know what I'm saying? We dig deep into information. Okay? There's information. This is the age of information. In the age of information, ignorance is a choice. You know, when somebody tells you something about something, you have at your disposal, well, exposable. Sorry. You have at your disposal a smartphone that can Google anything and you can talk to it, tell it what to do it. You know what I'm saying? So don't let anyone tell you or wait for anyone to teach you anything. You can teach yourself. Just like it says on my Facebook page, which it is Eugene Ivan Holder III. And I'm going to change my middle name. I'm going to change my middle name to Bold Love, because that's what I want to call this ministry. I want to, because like I said, I want to be friends with all of my congregation. But see, we have the capacity, using the internet, that just like my YouTube page, Beit Brit Haolam, that's it. That is the house of the covenant of the creation. With with the entire internet, we can congregate. You see, we're all students together. He tells you this is your only teacher. We just have to figure it out. He is our only teacher. If you pray for discernment, I'm telling you, you'll get it. Sometimes you may get it in a way that you really just honestly don't like. I'm actually going through that right now, but it doesn't really, you have to understand that it's all a learning process. We're only here for the test that it provides, Yahweh, to whether or not he wants to destroy our energies or not. Because an energy at war, a house at war with itself, an energy at war with itself cannot sustain itself. Stars blow up when they get all out of homeostasis. If you are constantly at homeostasis and don't have control over your house, your energy, and focus on love, and focus on Yeshua, focus on Yahushua HaMashiach, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, Yehuda. If we focus on the rejected stone, we focus on the love, we focus on trying to rid ourselves of all insecurities. We try to rid ourselves of all damaged goods from the past, because we, the tormented ones, the ones that have a need to know, we are the ones that are called, because he did not come to call the saints. He came to call the sinners to repentance. Repentance doesn't mean to grovel, believe me. When you get your salvation, you're going to. You are going. I sobbed for about 4 hours straight when I finally knew. When I came to the final conclusion, when he showed me Proverbs 22:19, and it was really weird, okay? It was really weird. I was playing my Xbox and reading my Bible in between games. And, and just trying to clear my head, because I had a lot of things going on in my life at this time. I was being tormented by the adversary, something very fierce. I had to end up quit a very good paying job, because I just refused to sell my soul to work with those people anymore. I was going to try and go to school, and then all of a sudden there was a problem with my VA benefits, and I was kind of at a crossroads, and I was trying to, I was almost in tears asking him, what am I supposed to do? All I wanted to do was go to the school and go and get, all these, a piece of paper that said I read all the books that I've already read, basically, but I figured it would be okay to go and get the, the professor's perspective on things. We're all students together, but somehow that got shut down, and I was at a crossroads, and I was like, Yeshua, and God, and what, all I want to do is go to school to get the piece of paper that says I've read the book so that I can teach. I wanted to become a teacher, and I wanted to teach your ways. I said I wanted to teach your universe, Father. Why this roadblock? I don't understand it. I don't get it. And I just was begging, and I just needed to get my mind off of things. So I was playing my Black Ops Ghost. Awesome game, by the way. And all of a sudden, I was reading this, and I kind of set it up on my coffee table, and was kind of chit-chatting with the guys. I call myself a love seed farmer. I plant seeds of love and seeds of truth wherever I go. You know what I mean? I work a conversation to where I can give them little bits of truth. And little bits of truth worked into a conversation fester in the subconscious. A drop of water on the forehead eventually stains. Um, just drop those little seeds in there and the thirst will begin. You see? Well, see, I was talking with these guys, and kind of conversing, just throwing some, recent knowledge out to them as well, kind of making them aware of, things. And and I never look at the names on the screen. It's arbitrary to me. I don't care. I'm usually reading in between games, and when it starts up, and that's when I stop reading and I just start playing. I never looked at but I looked up and it said Proverbs 22:19 across the screen, and there was no icon, no points, no nothing, just that, And I was like, why would somebody use that as their gamer tag? That's just odd. But, I really didn't know exactly, I don't know per verse and numbers and all that stuff quite so, everything, I definitely didn't know Proverbs at the time, so I was curious, why would somebody use that? So I opened up and I thumbed through and I got to it, and I even put, I don't know if you can see, I even put a little heart right there, because that's to signify when my salvation really happened. And I looked it up and I'm like, okay, so, but I looked back at the screen, it was gone. And I was like, okay, so that your trust may be in the Lord, I have instructed you today, even you. And I was like, what? I look again. I look up at the screen. It was gone, and I put the book down real quick, and I went through all the recent players and everything, and I couldn't find it, but I know I saw what I saw. So I was like, what oh my God, what is that? I couldn't find it. I looked back and back and back and back, and I must have looked 100 times, and I still couldn't find it. So I picked it back up, and I just continued reading. And it says, have I not written to you excellent things of counsels and knowledge, that I may make you know the certainty of words of truth, that you may answer words of truth to those who send to you? And I thought to myself, he's telling me I don't need the piece of paper, all that legalistic nonsense, all that indoctrinated nonsense. He says, just speak, just do it. I said, okay. And I knew right then and there that, I was truly blessed by him. I knew right then and there that he had forgiven me for every single disgusting thing that I have ever done in my entire life, including celebrating pagan goddesses and the Son, not the Son of Man. I don't, it's overwhelming. His orchestration is overwhelming. Look, and you will see your orchestration with him. He will light your way if you can look, if you can see, and with ears to hear, and eyes to see, and hearts to feel, and understanding, man. It's all about understanding. You are only what you know. You are not your body. You are a self-aware, conscious energy, electromagnetically, just... They have videographed the living energy in things. They have videographed the soul, your 21 grams. They have videographed it leaving the body at the moment of death. Science proves God. It doesn't disprove it. Evolution is junk science. It's just junk science. You got, okay, I got a bone from, 46 million years ago. And then I got this other bone here, this little bone fragment I got. It's from 23 million years ago. And then I got this other one over here. It's this little fragment right here. That's 6 million years. And let me tell you, we came from apes. What? Are you kidding me? You know, there are many things in this universe that will always remain paradoxical. But what is not paradoxical is the question, what glorifies Christ and what does not? Are we glorifying something else? Are we doing things for something else? What are we doing them for? Because, you know, I mean, we ourselves, students of Yahshua, you know, we are we are the called ones. We are the ones with understanding because we've been through the ringer, but we want to know why we've been through the ringer. You know, we want to know why people are dying. We want to know what's this. We want to know what's that. We just get this deep-seated need to know. That's the thirst for truth, you see. Because if one does the actual research of these things and sees it for their own selves, then, you know, perception is reality. Perception is your reality. You're this like little soul, you know, I did that whole shared reality. You're like this little soul, you know, this little conscience, sharing this whole earth with everyone else. Everything that we do affects someone else. There's a concept that I came up with called the choices we make and the butterfly effects of them, okay? You know, we make a choice to choose different things daily, you know, and some choices that we make may not affect us for 5 or 10 years, but they still affect us, you see. But every single choice that we make actually affects the entire world. You know, I can get into it in a different video. I think that's probably better anyway. I still want to talk to you about this time thing, science. You know, we have reversed calculated tick 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 tick, the whole 9 yards, using like computer software and knowledge. You know, I mean, how can we get it? You know, we cannot afford at this time, this late in the game, we cannot afford to make any mistakes. You know, we are doers, you know, and that's what Bold Love Ministries is going to be all about. Period. I don't want a building. That's a waste of money. What I'd like to do is each Sabbath, I'd like to meet somewhere. I will post where I'm going to be. I'm just going to go somewhere, and then maybe some people show up. And then what I'd really like to do is, you know, maybe explain a few things to the people and discuss some things, you know, and we are all students together. We get different perspectives on things because the wise only get wiser. It is a fool who rejects it. And this whole correction thing, why are we, you know, lashing out at people trying to correct you? You know, I don't understand that at all. You know, I was corrected as well, and I understand, yeah, you know, I made a mistake. Oh, well. You know, there was a certain thing involved there, and I'm trying to get through to somebody. Period. You know, but dig for yourselves, you know, everything I'm talking about. Google it. What does this mean? What does that mean? You know, you don't even have to take my word for it. I honestly just whatever, you know, just Google it, talk about it amongst people. Add me on Facebook, Eugene Ivan Holder III, and I'm changing my middle name to Bold Love, all caps. That way when people are looking for me, all they got to do is type in Bold Love, all caps, And I'm even thinking about putting a trademark thing on it so it'd be even easier for people to find me on Facebook, because nobody necessarily has that, and I'm not even sure that they'd allow me to do that. And I don't really care. I just want to make sure that everyone gets a hold of this. Add me until a mad capacity of friends, and then we'll just have to share and share alike, spread the love of the feasts of Yahweh. They're not the feasts of the Jews, they're the feasts of Yahweh. They're the feasts of Yahushua, HaMashiach, our Redeemer of worlds. It's not scary. It's actually really fun. And there's a lot of information jam-packed, man, but there's a lot of information that's jam-packed in these things. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to tell you about is that I'm trying to, and more people that can add me on Facebook, or, suggest me to people, and comment under these videos. But definitely suggest me to people, especially people with questions. I try to answer as many as I can. I have a lot going on in my own life, trying to get this thing, the ministry off the ground, and I'm going through some rough things in my own life outside of that, but I think it was a distraction of that anyhow. And it's just not, it's just not, there's more for me to do, where I'm at. And like I said, sometimes discernment doesn't come in a way that you would like. I get that. Because a lot of times I don't like it either. But, you just have to sit back, relax, be still, and realize he is there. And everything that's going on is for a reason. I tell people, how do you know that you're where you're supposed to be and you're where God wants you? Because you're there. Ask him why. See yourself through his eyes and ask him why. Period. I had a wonderful Passover, and I was actually given the opportunity of witnessing to a bunch of people on Sunday, which is the Feast of First Fruits. Like, you have to understand that a day's time are actually biblically from sunset to sunset. Now, you can get into the whole word game and say, that a day is actually from sun up to sundown, which, okay, whatever, but a full 24-hour period that we calculated as time, 24 hours, a full 24-hour period is from sunset to sunset, and the feast happened at sunset. So the feast, he resurrected just before sunset on the weekly Shabbat, and then thus began the first fruits. Mary goes early in the first day of the week when it was still dark. So he had already risen. So it happened the night before, just before sunset, to end the Shabbat and begin the Feast of First Fruits, which, is when he's coming back, maybe. You never know. You never know. The Feast of Shavuot is getting ready to come up. And I'd actually, for the Feast of Shavuot, what I'd really like to try and get together is a camping float trip for 3 days, and ending it on Shavuot, but a mikvah float trip, a rededication. We'll find, we'll all stop somewhere where we all feel, we'll all stop somewhere where we all feel like we, or like, hey man, this is a pretty good spot. Let's all do our mikvahs here and we can all witness together. We can talk about some things, and I can tell you about some things that I know by campfire, as we're floating down, on our inner tubes or whatever it is that we've got. We can all talk about it there, and just have a good time, and rededicate ourselves to the ascension, to the reason for all of it. For the reason for all of it is our ascension into heaven. And sometimes I wonder if he's not going to come back in Shavuot when they say he's going to come back just as he left. Can we read a little bit more into that? I don't know. But he ascended. Would he come back and let us ascend at the same time period? Huh? I think that would be really, really cool for him to do that. I think that would be pretty awesome. Because I certainly want to do everything that he did. I've been obsessed with my own death since I was like 3 years old. And I actually wrote a song called Dying for the Chance to Be Murdered with my old rock band. It's about, I think that the only way to truly walk in our Messiah's footsteps is to be tortured and murdered, which in the end days is probably likely to happen. Our government bought 30,000 guillotines, for crying out loud. Google. That's all we could prove. Made by Chanel, I think. But I think that to walk in his light is to understand that nothing that this world can throw at us means anything, because it's all just the test. Yirmeyahu, Jeremiah. We are here to be tested and refined. He threw us to the destroyer to be a tester and refiner of his people. 6:16 and on. Stand at the crossroads, look. Okay, here you go. It says, stand at the crossroads and look. Stand at the crossroads and look. Take at the ancient paths. Paths, plural. Which one is the good one? Take it and you will find rest for your souls. The ancient paths. The pagan path? Or the path of Yahweh? Everybody's so scared of Torah. Torah is just the instruction. That if you're looking at it in the Hebrew, okay, in the language it was written in, and you take out all the spaces, it actually says every 50th letter, it says Torah, 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 in both the first two books. And then Leviticus doesn't actually have that. But Numbers, Exodus has it, Leviticus, and then Numbers actually has it backwards. And so does Deuteronomy. All pointing to Leviticus, right? Well, every 7th letter in Leviticus spells Yahweh, 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 Yahweh. There's more in the Torah than you'll ever know if you just dig into the knowledge of it, man. It's not a law. It's a mindset. Celebrating the feasts, They're not the feast of the Jews. They're the feast of Yahshua, HaMashiach, our Savior. Easter's for Easter. There's nothing out of place. I think it's amazing what kind of little complexity on top of complexity he's got in here. You know, it's just... it's amazing to me what kind of magnificence is actually in these books that people don't pay attention to. They say, oh, you gotta be closed-minded to believe in any of that crap, bruh. But you actually have to open your mind completely to all things academic, to all things understanding, to all things new. Because the wise only get wiser. It's not necessarily correction, it's just spreading of information. Okay? You know, the whole name thing, I really think that we need to annihilate this pagan Jesus thing within the body of Yahshua. Because it's tearing everybody apart. They don't, you know, I understand and lament not being able to, you know, celebrate Easter, you know, but come on, man, think about things logically. But Torah is just learning how to understand, to love Him, glorify Him with all of your mind, all of your body, and all your heart, and all your soul. That's it. You know? That's what it's going to be about with Bold Love. I want to meet somewhere, and let's meet in different places that actually need some help. And what I really want to do is sit and talk about some things for a little while, discuss some things, and then wherever we're at, whatever the meeting place that I choose is, we just go around in that area and help people. Even if we got to bring the fittings to be able to turn on a fire hydrant and spray the streets down to clean them off for children to play in, then let's do it. Let's get together and really do something around here. You know, what are we doing for Christ? You know, James tells us that we're doers. Paul tells us that we're doers. Shaul. You know, I mean, it's not the works, man, but you know what? The works is where it's at. The works is where it's at. You know, that's where you get the best in here. You know? I would like to eventually get enough people to where we have some knowledge and we can actually maybe make some repairs on the elderly's homes and the poor's homes. You know? Bold Love, if you would like to donate, you know, please comment below. You know, I would like to get things started on being able to get out there and help these people that nobody actually really wants to. It's kind of just a tax write-off. You know, let's hook them up with some realness. Let's hook them up with some love, but like not just, you know, normal love. Let's hook them up with a Thesis-style bold love. You know, let's take these people some food. Heck, let's cook them dinner. You know, let's do something. Let's get out there. What building could we build for Him? We're trapped in a building. That's what the Sabbath is for. Yahshua says it's good to do good on the Sabbath, and let's do it. You know, so most days on the Sabbath, I don't like rolling out of bed before maybe 10:30, 11. You know, just kind of chill, read a little bit, rest up, man. The Sabbath was made for man, not the other way around. It's for us to rest. Our bodies need rest. Our minds need rest. Our souls need rest. We connect with Him. We get back with Him. We ask him the whys we need to in order to straighten ourselves back out. The Sabbath was made for us to be able to congregate and do good for people. Yahshua did good, why can't we? We're walking in his light. Let's be the light. Let's sow those little seeds, Dude, on my Facebook, I'm a little bold in some of the things that I do talk about, but sometimes I think that, the abruptness, the parable, it causes that awkward thought. Sometimes I think I ask questions in a way maybe, but we also have to understand that Facebook and texting communication is only 3% of a conversation. It's just the data being transferred. There's no tone, inflection. There's no body language, eye contact. You lose that kind of on the phone, but you still get the sincerity, the hesitation. You still get the feelings in it, which is, that's why Satan created it, so it would separate us down, and all we get is the data being transferred, and the rest of the 97% is, our own fantasies and delusions and projections and imagination of what that person meant and how they were saying it, when they were actually saying, how can we glorify Christ with the name of a pagan goddess? I don't, come on. Let's think about these things in a logical way. Let's glorify him with our last breath, with Yahshua being on it. The time is nearing. The time is now to start really digging in and getting some information, getting to the point. It's the time is now. Let's get to it. Comment below and let's discuss some things. If you have some questions, ask me and I will do my best to answer them. If not, I will find an answer. That's what we do as critical parable thinkers. We find information. They can't hide anything from us. Not truly. They have to tell us what they're doing. You just have to look for it. Every bit of it. They have to broadcast it, but they can't do it so obviously. Like the Marilyn Manson song, Beautiful People. Capitalism has made it this way. Old-fashioned fascism will take it away. Capitalism made this raunchy little world we live in today, where we don't care about the poor. We don't care about the 30,000 children dying per day, needlessly. So let's make a difference. Let's start. Let's really make a difference. Let's get out of the buildings and onto the streets. We are disciples of the word, not listeners of it. So we must be learned ourselves and humble enough to understand that we are all students together in the mighty truth and understanding of Yahshua HaMashiach. Everybody has perspectives, and perspective is reality. Okay? We're all sharing it, so let's share Yahshua HaMashiach. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to talk about, but let's, do some time calculating if you're a math guy or a girl. Do some things, do whatever you have to do in order to, the more that you start getting into these little tidbits of truth, the more you're going to get a thirst, I'm telling you. The more you're going to want to know, you're going to want to understand. Because in the end, all we are is what we understand. All we are is what we know. And our consciousness being self-aware. Okay? So let's talk about time and celebrations for a little while. And, comment below whether or not you'd like to be part of my congregation. And let's do some good. All right? I love you. Praise Yahshua HaMashiach. Pray all day. Praise his ways. That's what I say. I know that's cheesy, but you know what? I really don't care because it's him, man. Who cares? Praise his ways, his feasts. All right? Well, I guess that's the end. And I can't wait to hear from every single one of you. I really, really can't. So hit me up. All right. Love you. Alaikum shalom.